Hi, I wanted to tell you the basics of the story. So I live here. I've lived here since 2017, and I worked in in this place cleaning apartments for rent, and I didn't get paid a whole lot. It was kind of like domestic servitude, but I needed it because I needed the job, and I really enjoyed the chance to learn. I've had 30 years in recovery in two programs, big programs, and Um, so I have almost 11 years in AA and about 20, almost 21 years in Al-Anon, which is hard to believe. But so I decided to try to clean apartments for rent because that was back when, before coronavirus, when the economy was really bad and people were struggling. And I had always told my husband always told me when we were first married that if I cleaned the apartment, we could have free rent, and that he wanted me to do that. And I told him at the time that I was too good to do that. I didn't want to do that. I was in graduate school for French. I wanted to keep going to graduate school for French. I wanted to work as Kelly Temporary Services. I didn't want to clean apartments for rent in addition to being a temp in an office. And he was very upset by that, and I always felt like maybe I should have given it a chance. I didn't really understand where he was coming from at the time, and we had a great marriage. A lot of the time we raised kids, our kids are great, and we really should have, we could have had better skills at the time, but we were both going through our substances and well, our things, I should say, because I don't take his inventory. And anyway, so I had a chance to do that again and kind of make living amends and just say I wasn't not too good for something and try to do it right. Well, it ended up being kind of a dysfunctional situation, and it wasn't it wasn't the best. It was a fine place to work, and they were okay to work for, but it wasn't quite enough money for what I was doing, and it wasn't the best conditions, I guess you would say, and it was stressful. And he's a little bit S is a little bit not regulated emotionally all the time, and that was stressful. And M, when I was working, would be in my apartment going through my things and stuff, and I couldn't really. She'd show my apartment to people while I was working, and she would go through my stuff and things. Not so you'd notice, but just enough so that I started noticing over time. So then I got let go from that job, which is fine because I wasn't really doing my best at the end of it. I think I was kind of quiet quitting is what they call it now, but I wasn't really needing to do that at the time. And I went ahead, and then there was like a year, and then coronavirus happened. I think that's about right. And I went into lockdown, and during lockdown, I started getting. My dad died and left me some money, and I started getting money from my family again in 2020. So I was able to order some things for my apartment. And one of the first things I ordered was something from Target. I ordered hats because I like to have hats in my apartment. I like to keep my face shaded from the sun. And I always wear hats and sunglasses, and I'm kind of known for it around town. And it's very important if you're a girl and you have skin to wear a hat and sunglasses. Very much, movie stars don't do that by accident. Redheads, aren't the only ones that have to do that kind of thing. Even if you are 1/4 black like me, you still have to kind of put on the 300 SPS and everything, SPF and everything. So, because all those things they say about not having to do that, that's not true for people that don't have melanin. And my skin, I don't know if you can tell, is like completely almost transparent, and it really, I can tan because of the other part of me, but I don't tan a whole lot because I'm trying to, preserve the quality of my skin for future generations. So, anyway, so I got a order from Target, and they called me, and they're like, "Hey, we think that you asked for this twice." And I was like, "I didn't ask for it twice. I'm not really sure why you think that." And they're like, "Well, we're sending you double." So I got one pink and yellow hat, and one pink and yellow hat. And it's always like a big deal, my new hats, because I wear my hats all the time, and so I just love them so much. And they're kind of like my signature hats, and I go out around town, everybody knows me, and they're just caps, but they mean a lot to me. So I I opened the box in the office with M there, and I opened it and I looked down at them and I was like, oh, these are the hats. You have daughters. Let me give these to you. So I gave them to her and I was like, you can give them away if you don't want them. It's fine. But just, have the hats. So she said thank you and she took them and she's outwardly very sweet. But I don't know her story or what her process is or why she doesn't work here anymore or anything of that kind, okay? All I know is that she didn't work here for some time soon after that those kinds of things, okay? Going in people's apartments and stuff like that. Now, she has the right to go into people's apartments for some things. Like I said, I'm not taking her inventory. I'm just describing so you understand what's so difficult about all this right now. Okay, so then over the years, I would order Walmart to deliver because I like to drink water. I drink about a gallon a day and of something, or 2 gallons. Even after sobriety, I still drank a ton of liquid. So during coronavirus, my daughter was like, I don't think you're going to get enough water, because she's like, you can't, because I couldn't drink the water in the tap here. Nacogdoches water is really great for some people, but I don't have the money to filter it, and the Brita water doesn't quite take out all the stuff. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and get bottled water. She's like, I'm ordering you bottled water. She said, I'll order you 30 gallons a month during the quarantine. So I was like, how are you going to do that? Because I don't have a car, and I haven't had a car for years. So I would walk back and forth with my 30 gallons of water. And she said, Walmart does delivery. And I was like, Walmart does delivery? And she's like, yeah. So I started ordering Walmart delivery. I just loved it. And I got everything. I got tables. I got lots of stuff from Walmart delivery. And so what would happen is my deliveries would often, I'd say about twice a month, 3 times a month, be duplicated, because if they had stuff in them, but not if they had food in them. Only sometimes if they had food in them. And what would happen is I would order it, and then I would get this thing that popped up and said delayed, order delayed, in transit, lost. So I would call and they said, well, you can reorder it, it's fine. So I reorder it, and then I would go and go back and try to get the order again. And so it wasn't costing me any money, and I wasn't really noticing that it wasn't costing me any money. And but what started happening was I would leave my house to do something, and I would come home, and my cottage cheese would say expiration date like October 15th when I got it, and then I would go away and come back, and my cottage cheese would be expiration date September 29th. And I have a really good memory, so it's really funny. And so I would be like, okay, that's really not my cottage cheese. And then I would be doing something, and I would look, and the ice cream would be like melted and refrozen, or there'd be something missing, or it wouldn't quite be quite right, or something would be stained that was brand new and not opened yet. Stuff like that would start happening. So I was like, well, that's weird. And I would talk to them, and I'd always get it returned, because I was like, look, I guess I didn't quite look at it. It was expired when it must have been expired when I got it, because my brain was like not thinking right. It was just like, it could not believe that this was, really happening, because these people seem real sweet, and they are real sweet. So there must be something wrong somewhere. But anyway, so then as time went on, my mom passed away. And I'm going to go ahead and just briefly summarize this, because something scary happened. I want to tell you all about it, but I just want to fill you in on a few things. So my mom passed away. I got a little money, and I started using it for things. Oh, I forgot the storage truck. Okay, so I moved my storage from, I had a cat. My daughter gave me her cat because they were moving into their house from a rental house in Houston, and there was a cat in their garage. When they moved into their new house, there was a cat sitting in an exploded box. There's like an open box in the garage, and he was sitting in the middle of it, like taking a bath and purring and stuff. And so they kept him, but they didn't have room for him because they already had cats. And so they called me and they're like, we've asked everybody else, so can you take this cat? And I was like, of course I can take the cat. So I have a cat and I just love him and he's doing great, but he's attracted the attention of some of these militant animal people here because of other things. I'm not really one that participates in stuff here very much because I keep it to myself because I have an immune deficiency from birth and everything. And so they're kind of like paying a lot of attention to him right now. But anyway, he's fine. He's fat and happy and doing great. So there's that. But that's a side issue. And so she brought me the cat. So I started getting cat stuff and things like that in my orders. And I started noticing that my litter would go missing and my cat food would go missing. And there's a cat here that I don't know if it's her. I'm not saying it's her. I don't know for sure. But there is a cat here that someone uses for pain pills. And and it looks a lot like my cat, but my cat happens to be a different color subtly than that cat. My cat's brown. Their cat's black. But anyway, I started noticing that litter would go missing and that food would go missing. So on the 1st, there would be stuff missing. And then on the 15th, there would be stuff back, like new stuff right inside my door. Because like I said, these people are very sweet. They have issues, obviously, but they're sweet. So, so that was upsetting. But life continued on because, like I said, all you do is you complain, but you can get your stuff for free replaced, but you can't really stop what's happening in the stores in this country because people are just sort of grabbing things and running out full force, right? So I was like, okay, that's not really great for me, my cat, because I would think I had extra, and I would go over and it would actually be an empty litter bucket and not a full litter bucket, which is sad. Because I take really good care of him and I want him to be happy and healthy, right? Okay, so then that happened. That was weird. And then I started deciding to do something nice for people. So I had some paper and plastic trash in my apartment just built up that week. And I put a sign up that said, 10 bags of trash for $80 if you want to take it to the dumpster. And I know it sounds like drugs or prostitution or whatever, but that would be way too little for prostitution and probably for drugs as well. So no. And so this woman next door came to my apartment and she said, I'll take your trash. And I was like, okay. And I had this chair. This is so funny. She's a sweet lady. She has some issues, but she's really sweet and I love her. So, hey, if you're out there. But I had a chair that was broken that was turquoise, right? And I had a blue chair that was just like it, identical to it, but was not broken. And it was sitting outside where a chair should be. So I put all of the trash outside, lined it up, and she came over and she got all the trash. Well, she put it in her apartment with my new chair and my old chair. And then stuff would start showing back up in my apartment from that trash, which is really weird. Because before, what would happen is I would throw stuff in the dumpster, and the guy I used to work for would go with his golf cart and get it out of the dumpster and take it away somewhere. I just assumed to his workshop because he's kind of a squirrel, but maybe there was a new apartment. Maybe there was an apartment back then. I don't know. It's a nightmare. So then it's so upsetting. So it was like escalation, but on a slow scale, right? I started getting Amazon packages. I stopped getting as much Walmart, and people here were visibly distressed for some reason that I wasn't getting groceries here anymore. And I thought that was weird too, because I don't really notice what they do most of the time. But I started getting Amazon packages. And what would happen is I would get the Amazon packages in my apartment, and I would put them by my door, and someone would come in and take them, like porch pirates, but inside your apartment. And I would be like, gosh, that was just right here a second ago. I just unpacked it, and now my most of my visible action in my apartment is right next to the door. So that was kind of my bad. If you're doing that kind of thing, you should really put stuff inside your apartment so people have to walk in to get it. And I started doing that, which is what led to this next incident that happened. Daisycakes. So one day someone was delivering packages at my door, and I opened up the door because I'm always here because I have an immune deficiency and I work from home, so I stay inside. So I opened the door, and at the door was my Amazon delivery driver, I hope. And he was putting a stack of 5 boxes tall at the door. So I took 3 of them and I pivoted to put them down, and I turned around again, and there was a woman at my door next to the Amazon driver, and she was taking the 2 bottom packages. So I stopped her and I was like, hey, I'm here right now. She's like, these have to go to the office. And I was like, no, they don't. I'm here right now. The other ones had food in them. These like goods, food goods. And these had like stuff in them, like locks and computer stuff and SD cards and all kinds of stuff. So she said, no, these have to go to the office. And I was like, it's like I'm here. I'm here. It's like you're a porch pirate. These are mine. I'm accepting delivery. And she was like, okay. And she's real sweet. I think she was told to do that by somebody, and it's not her wish, So she left, and I took all the things in. I told the guy, I was like, look, this is my face. Don't be giving anybody anything that's not mine, because I really need my stuff. I don't have the money now, especially with Amazon, to replace everything, because it's not like Walmart. If they know they delivered it, they don't replace it for free. And at Walmart, they should do that, and they do that. But sometimes if it's expired, then someone switches it out later. Like if it's popsicles and they're melted up because someone got a duplicate order and they want to have the real popsicles for themselves, then they will replace it. So, and I don't commit fraud ever, so I really try to do the right thing. So then I put up a sign saying, do not take them any other place. So then people, like DoorDash people and Amazon people, were all like, oh, wait, that's you. You're you. And I was like, yes, I'm me. So they started, they would come to the door and they would verify that it was me. And they would be like, you're not the other lady. And I'm like, what other lady? And they're like, you're not the other woman that takes packages for you. And I was like, I'm the only one that takes packages for me. This is my apartment. This is my address. And so all of those missed deliveries stopped, because I started getting missed delivered notifications that, they were delivered. It says handed to a resident or another person. And no pictures ever on any of these deliveries. But that's okay, because Amazon did a great job, because I posted on Reddit that I was having trouble. And some guy from Amazon, some important guy, gave me, privately contacted me and gave me, a list of things to do. And I did all of those things, and it worked minorly and stopped. So that was great. Okay, so the delivery stopped from Amazon. The Walmart deliveries stopped from Walmart. People started getting tense because all of this free stuff, and I'm not sure what else they were getting with the orders, but all of the stuff that they were getting went back to the way it was before I had money, which was, most of my life, but before coronavirus. So then I started. This is kind of hard to explain. Okay, so then I looked at DoorDash. I was like, well, if this is happening, because I get DoorDash a lot. I get DoorDash maybe 4 times a week. So I thought, well, if this is happening with Amazon, it's probably happening with DoorDash, because I would order and then I would go put my camera up in the window to catch the orders, and I would see people who looked like they might be going to get my orders for me. And I started getting kind of, interesting people at my door delivering my food. And there's a couple guys here that work for DoorDash that I used to work for when I cleaned apartments. So, and so I was like, well, I want DoorDash employees to find my camera. I want DoorDash employees to deliver my food. Just DoorDash employees, not anybody else. The person that picks up my order online is the person that I want at my front door, and nobody else. No. And I was like, and please, if you're giving people extra food, if they come and say, oh, Katie told me it was okay to get an extra cheeseburger. I was like, I really don't have money for that, because it was getting really expensive. My orders for McDonald's were $30 for one meal. So I was like, and I have Dash Pass and everything. So I was like, this is nutty. And sometimes the orders wouldn't show up on my orders at all. So it was like they were paying themselves by not really charging me DoorDash prices. They would be on also the whole time I had somebody on my Wi-Fi. So I kept trying to kick them off, but I couldn't. So it was really funny. I mean, is ridiculous, and it's very expensive. It's cost me a lot of money, but it was kind of funny. So so that all kind of stopped, right? Well, people here got mad. They were mad about it. And because I said in Spanish and English, because I speak Spanish and I speak English, Spanish well enough to get by, and certainly well enough to not scold people, but to, you know, teach people how I want things to be done, and nicely, and also to correct people if I needed to in the moment, like face to face, nicely. And so, anyway, an unrelated person I don't even, well, I recognize from my old town as being a member of the family that used to live kind of across the street from me, ish, sort of to the right across the street, but not really recognize, you know, I don't think he really knows me that well. But anyway, he was upset. I used to see him. I would order DoorDash and I would look outside and I would see him go to his car and come back with something from that restaurant that I ordered from. But I just didn't really believe it was connected because it's a world-class food town, I think. And there's tons of restaurants here and everybody goes the same one. So I wasn't sure it was connected. But okay, so then the next day I posted the briding video, which has been taken down, but I can put back up. So I posted it and I was like, wow, that's really a lot of light, because they had been shining light in my windows when I started my podcast, which was about, oh gosh, it's been almost 4 months now that we've been developing it. So it's been a long time. But anyway, ever since then, they've been getting angry and angrier, and they've been shining lights in my window and stuff like that, and all kinds of things. So I don't know why, because the only thing you can ever talk about is what people give you to talk about, and I don't really have that much to talk about except for my experiences with people. And it's true that they've been kind of problematic sometimes, but that's not really my problem. So then I went to, we get to this week, which last week, Thursday, the 21st of September, and I was attacked by the same guy that I saw in the parking lot and a couple other people in my apartment, because I had ordered, my Amazon deliveries had been not diverted, like they would refuse to divert them. The DoorDash drivers weren't giving up their orders anymore to people, and I'm just so proud of everybody in this town. It's so funny. And the Amazon people were, Amazon wasn't letting anybody mess with their deliveries, not at the warehouse, not at distribution centers, not farther on down the line, and not at my door, which is nice for a little while. And they weren't taking them to the office anymore either. Even though I have nothing against the people currently in the office, they're great. And so then, and Walmart wasn't, I was ordering maybe like one order from Walmart a month instead of one a week, and it was about a fourth of the cost. And Walmart, DoorDash, and DoorDash was locking it completely down. So DoorDash was like the restaurants, I should say, okay, you should know, it's hard to explain. I used to work in restaurants here. I worked as a hostess, and I worked as a hostess in 2 big, huge restaurants here, and I had a great time. I was older. I'm still older. I'm very old. I know I don't sound it, but whatever. And I had a great time. I was in my late 40s, and I thought I was just having so much fun. And I would go out to eat every night in all of the different restaurants. So everybody knows me, that like owns the places and manages the places here. And I'm so grateful to that. So when I asked them, I only asked DoorDash, but I put it where the drivers could see it. And I was like, show this to people working and tell them, you know, that bad things have been happening with my food. I said this in English, Spanish. And I don't want to have people sponging off of me or using my name to get free food right now. I hope one day to be able to do that, but right now I can't. And so it stopped. Not because DoorDash could stop it, because they can't really control like exactly who picks up their orders, but because the restaurants knew me and they were like, oh, okay. So then they started being really careful, and I'm so happy that they did that. And so then they stopped. And I don't even know how to thank people, but they did. It like cut my expenses more than in half all of a sudden, and it was great. And then 2 things happened at once. the whole time I'd been stalked on my email, and my router and my modem were hacked continually by people living very close to me. I don't know who they are, but very, very close to me people. Because they were literally, everybody agrees that they had to be right there. Google location history shows them as being right there. So, anyway, but I don't know, I'm not saying names, so I don't know who they are, but, so I followed instructions again that I got from professionals, and I got a new modem, and I got a new router, and I got a new email, and a new phone number. Oh, and this guy ported my old number to his number. My mom died, and my brother was paying for my phone, and he canceled my phone without me knowing it. And when I found out, I went to get it back, and they said no, because someone already has it at your apartment complex. And so he was on my stuff with that, because that's my backup number. So it was a pain. I had to get all new stuff and just start over from scratch, but it's worth it, because then I found out kind of who he was because of his MAC address showing up and a lot of other things. But anyway, the point is that I got attacked in my apartment on the 21st of September because of all these things escalating and causing disgruntlement among the people that were profiting from all of these chances to do business with all these people that they lost chances with, even though they could do business by themselves. I don't really understand how all the side businesses work, but maybe Snowman will explain it to me. But they still could have gotten their own orders for each other and kind of like split it all together in thirds, and then, gotten stuff or whatever they're doing. But it's just difficult to explain. And there's an Amazon reseller involved in all this as well, but I'm not sure how much they know that it's not willing reselling. So anyway, I got attacked, and that's the backstory for the attack. And the attack is on the video, but because of the bad coding, you can't really see the actual video that I put up. I don't know if the stalker changed it or if I changed it, because the stalker has really bad coding, because that's why he's stalking. There's something that he wants to get rid of off of his stuff, and he's trying to put it on me. So anyway. Okay, so then what happened was I got a new phone. My phone was cloned immediately by the stalker, and it's on my account as two phones, but they're both named the same thing, and they have the same IMEI address. It's really crazy, but it's on there as two separate phones. So I was like, okay, that's weird. And so what'll happen is some pictures pop up that are off of their phone, and some pictures pop up on my phone. So I took my phone off email, and I still have, but because the phone is cloned, it's like the camera is linked to two phones, right? So if they take a picture, I have the picture. Now, if they delete a picture, I don't think it deletes off both phones, because I don't have mine on the internet, but I'm not sure about all that. Anyway, so someone got their phone, and they took a bunch of pictures of their fake apartment. It's really scary, guys. It's here, and it's close to here in this apartment complex, and it is a duplicate apartment, and it is really weird. So that happened recently. I had never seen those pictures before, and I was shocked. It took me a few minutes to realize that I wasn't looking at my apartment, but I kept thinking, I don't have anything. I don't have that, and that's not mine, and I gave that away a long time ago, and whatever happened with this, and I didn't have a label on that. I took the label off, and the doorknob's different, and all these things are weird, and I mean, a lot of the structures are not the same in the actual apartment. So, but anyway, it doesn't matter. So I was attacked, and I got knocked down, and the guy grabbed my uppers, pretending to play dead. I'm a big lady. I don't know if you can see. I'm weighing a little bit much right now. I'm trying to lose weight, but I like myself this way too. And he tried to pick up my head and bang it into the trash can, which is very wobbly, and so it didn't hurt. But he wasn't really able to do it because I was acting like a dead weight, because underneath me was my tablet, and my tablet was recording. So I was trying not to get my chest on my tablet because this computer is so sensitive that anytime you touch it, it acts really crazy and stops recording and shows screens and all kinds of stuff. So I was like, okay, I have to keep my chest, which is not small, off of it, and I have to keep him away from it. So I was doing that, and he grabbed my head and he tried to like push it into the trash can. Of course, he didn't go very far because he bumped my head, but not a lot, not hard at all, like not so you even notice, but because it was probably like lifting 300 pounds, which this is a very big guy. He's like 6'5", he's probably 250. He can lift a lot of weight. So it's okay. So then I started looking at the videos that were on this phone that was on my phone, and I have my phone's videos and his phone's videos. And I started looking at his because I guess that's what he's been doing all the time, but I just never noticed. But there's one. So I always said the bath. I forgot to tell you. Hold on. I'm going to come back to that.